How many of you have ever had the power go out during a storm? Think about how long the power could be out. Hours, days, or even weeks. Millions of Americans live in this reality, as our outdated electricity system has trouble keeping up with modern needs. Hello, Dr. Council, and my fellow students. My name is Paul Kotler, and today I'm going to tell you about how the U.S. electricity system, how it became outdated by modern Western standards, what that means, and what needs to be done to fix it. The electrical grid in the U.S. was created primarily between the 1950s and 1960s and hasn't kept up with modern requirements. Flores et al. 2023 say that the Texas power crisis of 2021 showed that the state's grid was poorly designed and maintained. Millions of people were without electricity for days during frigid conditions because of old systems and a lack of weatherization. This affected thousands of lives. This shows the 3 million people affected during those power outages. Entris and Stevens 2023 also indicated that Hurricane Ian caused massive power disruptions across Florida, which showed how fragile and vulnerable our grids are to bad weather. These power outages showed that the current infrastructure isn't very reliable or strong. This image depicts Hurricane Ian and the outages that occurred during them. Most of the US grid was built in the middle of the 20th century, and although technology has come a long way since then, many areas still use old transmission lines and equipment. Our infrastructure is old, which is part of the problem. But new climate challenges are also putting even more stress on this already weak system. Our power systems are slowing. There are flaws due to extreme weather and rising temperatures. Stone et al. 2021 concluded that the electrical systems in the US cities are not ready for protracted heat waves when the temperature rises. The need for cooling rises as well, which puts a strain on systems and causes blackouts. This is a weekly image displayed by the EIA showing US droughts via their power plants. These stressors aren't simply annoying, they're also bad for the health of people who rely on air conditioning and or power for medical devices. The same infrastructures that break during storms also have problems during heat waves, which means that its shortcomings aren't just restricted to one type of weather. They're systemic and worrying. And if the weather wasn't bad enough, there's a new problem: rapid technology innovation and rising energy demands. AI and data centers are examples of modern technologies that are putting too much stress on the grid. The US Department of Energy in 2025 said that the need for power is skyrocketing because of the growth of data centers and AI across the country. This image shows that by 2035, there'll be a 31x increase in demand use. These buildings use a lot of electricity, but our old systems cannot transmit it consistently since it doesn't have the capacity or strength. Experts say that the blackout could happen more often if the system isn't updated. This could happen not only during storms, but also when electricity use is at its highest. So from hurricanes to heat waves to data centers, it's evident that our infrastructure can't keep up with the needs of the 21st century. In short, the US electrical system was built for a time when energy needs were different, and it hasn't kept up with today's needs. Hurricane Ian, the Texas freeze, and additional stresses from modern technology have shown how weak it is. To avoid disasters, we need to make significant investments in modernization, integrating renewable energy, and making the grid more resilient. Thanks for listening. The next time the power goes out, remember, it's not just a storm. It's a sign of a much bigger problem. Thank you.